Leonardo DiCaprio received his first Academy Award nomination in 1993 for his role as Arnie Grape in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. However, in the 21 years since, he's yet to actually win an Oscar, being snubbed more times than a BET actor. Hashtag Oscars so not Leonardo DiCaprio. But this absence of recognition from the Academy is not due to his lack of trying. And I'll admit, there was a point where I hated the guy. I mean, he was just that whiny heartthrob in Titanic who kept saying, "Rose, Rose, stay right here, Rose." And he got to be in that PG-13 scene with Rose that my parents made me fast forward. But today, nobody can deny that this guy is dedicated to his craft. Don't believe me? Well then, here are 5 facts about Leonardo DiCaprio that show his passion for acting. I mean, you could call it 5 reasons Leonardo DiCaprio should win an Oscar, but that doesn't fit with my format, and everybody knows I have a format and I will not stray from it. Number 1. When Calvin Candy smashes his hand down on the dinner table in Django Unchained, Leonardo DiCaprio actually broke the glass, which cut his hand. However, like a real pro, DiCaprio stayed in character, eventually rubbing his own blood all over Kerry Washington's face. Disgusting. When the scene ended, Leo received a standing ovation from everyone on set, and that's the take you end up seeing in the film. Kerry Washington received a washcloth and was told to clean up for the next take. Number 2, Leonardo DiCaprio has kept his body clean. And I'm not just talking about the fact that he's been in some movies where he has to submerge himself in water, like Titanic, or The Beach, or that one that's about dreams and he's in a bathtub and he crawls out of the water onto the beach. Oh yes, Shutter Island. What was I talking about? He has not only kept the outside of his body clean, but he's kept the inside of his body clean and free of drugs. In fact, whenever he was preparing for his role in Wolf of Wall Street, he had to do some research. He spoke to a drug expert so he could get to know how to act when somebody is on drugs, which I don't know what a drug expert is, but I imagine if anybody knows how to find one, it would be a Hollywood actor. Also, to prepare for their roles in Wolf of Wall Street, him and Jonah Hill reportedly watched the YouTube video, The Drunkest Man in the World, for inspiration. I'm sure that YouTube video is pretty great, but I beg you please refrain from going to watch it until this episode is over. Thanks. Number 3. When preparing for his role as Frank Abagnale in the film Catch Me If You Can, Leonardo DiCaprio got to meet the real Frank, or so he was made to believe. It could all be a part of another one of Frank Abagnale's elaborate con jobs. Either way, it made for a great film, and I concur. I'm quoting the film. That's why it's funny. Remember? Comedy. Number 4. Part of the reason why Leonardo DiCaprio tends to be in fantastic films is because he's very selective about the films he chooses to be in and which roles he takes. Something I imagine he picked up from his co-star on the show Growing Pains, Kirk Cameron. In Leo's early career, he actually turned down the role of Max Dennison in the horror comedy Hocus Pocus, even though he was offered for the role, quote, more money than he ever dreamed of. He also first worked with Robert De Niro in the film This Boy's Life. De Niro was so impressed with him that he introduced him to Martin Scorsese. De Niro and DiCaprio continue to be 2 of Scorsese's most popular go-to actors. And another reason Leonardo DiCaprio is so admirable is that he has yet to be in a sequel. That's right, he didn't even do a cameo in Titanic 2, if you can believe it. Number 5. DiCaprio's latest film, The Revenant, as of the recording of this episode, might be one of his most dedicated efforts yet. He is quoted as saying, "Whether it was going in or out of rivers, or sleeping with an animal carcass, or like eating on set, I was enduring freezing cold and possibly hypothermia constantly." Man, I gotta tell you, if the food on the set was anything like the last student film set I was on, take it from me, that really is something that challenges your dedication. But actually, it turns out he was referring to raw bison liver, which sounds pretty gross. Probably not very safe. What are you doing eating bison liver? Leonardo DiCaprio, that's not a good idea. But I guess if he wins an Oscar for it, then it was all worth it? DiCaprio says, "When you see the movie, you're totally gonna see my reaction to it." Referring, of course, to the bison liver, because Alejandro, he kept it in. And that says it all, man. You had to be there, and you will be there because you're gonna see the movie. I promise. Well, hopefully it's all worth it. Leo, we're all rooting for you. We hope you win that Oscar and take it home and hold it and care for it and do whatever else you're supposed to do with an Oscar. Well, that's all I gotta say for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see my face, then you can check out youtube.com/saygoodnightkevin. You can watch some of my movie reviews and things like that over there, or not. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just asking if maybe you could, do that for me. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night. Until then, I'm Kevin. Those are the facts.